So before we get started and invite up our guest speaker, I'm going to bring up our Bureau Director, Micah Boxall.
You know what? It's wonderful to see you today. This is quite a turnout. I think this is more than we had last year. This is an incredible turnout. I hope you get the theme of today, appreciation. It's helpful, maybe sometime during the day, maybe after Dion speaks, not during. Come up here and stand on the stage and look at this beautiful audience. It'll make you appreciate appreciate your coworkers. Hey, it's my great honor to introduce our key speaker. Dion Jordan is an amazing man. He's got all kinds of degrees in all kinds of things, and that's not what's really so impressive about him. There's a lot of people that have a lot of degrees. Dion, however, is someone who has committed his life to helping other people get better, do better, become all that they can be. That passion for helping others reach their full potential is exactly what I want to hear today. I want to hear how I can become better. And I hope that you today are thinking about how you can become better. Dion, of course, is one of us. He's a lover of Portland Parks and Recreation, has grown up in Portland Parks and Recreation from being a little boy. I'm sure he'll tell some stories about that. And right now he serves unpaid as a volunteer advisor to Portland Parks and Recreation on the Parks Board. As a matter of fact, we have a couple of Parks Board members. We have Dion, we have Linda Robinson. Do we have any other Parks Board members? Let's give our citizen volunteers a big hand. The Parks Board is huge, and when we had a vacancy, I went right to Dion. It's about the same time that we renamed this center for his dad, Charles Jordan. His passion for parks is right from the ground. So, do me a favor, let's give this guy a big welcome. Dion Jordan.
I do have to say that I am terribly excited to have the opportunity to speak to you guys today, especially on the Employee Appreciation Day. For me, this is kind of like a speaker going back to his high school and giving the keynote address. Because it really is Portland Parks and Recreation that helped mold me to the man that I am today. From all the experiences that I had, the people of Portland Parks and Recreation that were my role models growing up. It's an honor to be here today to have this opportunity to say how much that you are truly appreciated. And what I did was I realized as I was putting this together that I cannot do this justice to say how much we appreciate all the work that you do. So what I did is I took it upon myself to go around the community and the different areas and talk to people in the community and ask them what do they appreciate most about Portland Parks and Recreation and the great employees that are there. And I got some awesome responses. I have to tell you that Miss Gloria Johnson, who lives in the Southwest, said she appreciates Portland Parks and Recreation because when her child comes home from school, she can't afford daycare. But she feels good knowing that her child is at a safe place with Portland Parks and Recreation. Because you provide that child care and that safe place for her child when she has to work late. I went to North Portland and ran into a young man by the name of Curtis Wilson. Curtis is only in the 6th grade, and he was out there playing basketball one day. And I was shooting baskets with him, and I asked him, I said, Kurt, I said, what is it that you appreciate or love about Portland Parks and Recreation? And he looked at me with these big eyes, and he said, well, I have a chance to play basketball. And I looked at him, I said, but Kurt, you can play basketball in your front yard. You can play basketball anywhere. You can shoot in a trash can and play basketball. He said, yeah, but Mr. Jordan, here, I get to play against all types. I get to play against the best high school all-stars. I get to play against college players. sometimes pros come to the parks. I get to play with everybody, and when I go back to my school, I kill them. So he appreciates the opportunity and the diversity that Portland Parks has. And then I also had the opportunity to go and talk to a young lady by the name of Jeffrey. And young Jeffrey told me, she said, I love Portland Parks Recreation because it's a safe place for me to run to when I'm scared. I asked her about being scared. She said she just happens to be one of the kids at school who get picked on a lot. And on the walk home, she has to go by the St. John's Community Center. And she stops in there every time because she knows it's a safe place where she can always be safe and protected. And then there was June Terry, who's 73 years old. And June said she loves Portland Parks and Recreation because you've made it to a place where it's just not for kids. That someone at 73 years old can go to the park and find some recreation or find something to do that's special for her as well. And then last but not least, the last person I had a chance to talk to is by the name of Esther McGillicuddy. I'm gonna say McGillicuddy, that's what it looks like to me. And what she told me is that she loves the open space, the green space, the wetlands, the places where she can go to find a tranquil place and get away from it all. So all together, by myself and with the city of Portland I've had the opportunity to hear from, you are so much appreciated for the impact that you have on lives, even through the daily routines of things that you might not have the opportunity to see. I had the opportunity to speak to the North Zone earlier this year and kind of give them a little pep talk with the new year starting. And I shared with them a story from my father that I think plays a good role today. And it was back when I was at Selwood Middle School, and I was in the 6th grade myself. And it just so happened that as a child in school, even though my father is, city commissioner and he's an important guy, doing some great stuff, I was in school messing up. I was in class, I was cutting up, I was being the class clown, I was doing everything I wasn't supposed to be doing in class. Until one day, they called me in the principal's office. Well, the principal's office was no new place to me. I knew the routine. I knew exactly what was going to take place. But this time was a little bit different. I went ahead and I went to the principal's office and I sat there and I was waiting for him to give me that speech, and he got on the phone and he called my dad. Now my dad's working in City Hall. He doesn't have time to leave City Hall to come all the way to Selwood because his son is messing up in school. And I looked at the principal and I said, I would rather you take me to jail than call my pops. And he went ahead and he called my father. I had to sit in that office, and my pops came through the door, kicked it down, smoke all around him. He stands in the doorway. And he looked at the principal and the vice principal in their office and tells them both to leave their office. Mr. Pastandini, who was the principal and the vice principal, left. I was crying, hoping they would leave. And Pops looked at me and he took a seat. And this is all that he said. He looked at me and said, son, do you remember the first gift I ever gave you? And I looked at him like, that was a trick question. And I looked at him like, Pops, I was like, the first gift you ever gave me? I said, was it a bike? He looked at me and said, nope. I said, was it a basketball? He said, no. I said, oh, that drum set. He said, no. Then he looked at me and he said, the first gift I ever gave you was my name, Jordan. Don't mess it up. And he just walked out. And I sat there froze, thinking to myself, wow, he did so much to build up the name. And here I am messing the whole thing up. But one thing that did is that gave me a new type of pride for that name Jordan. I walk around with an audacity pride with that name Jordan. And it's the same type of pride that I believe that everyone in here should have when you hear the name Portland Parks and Recreation. That name, Portland Parks and Recreation, I don't know, carries clout. It means something because they can see every day the impact of what you all do and the impact of the work that you put. While other people are sleeping, you're still working. While you're planning, we're playing. And because of being the best, it shows, not just here in Portland, but I can tell you from all my traveling around the nation and all my speaking, that Portland Parks and Recreation, no doubt about it, has some of the best parks in the world. You know this. You know you won gold medals and get all these great awards around Portland parks. But one of the things that sometimes gets missed is being the best comes with challenges. When you're always on top, when you're always doing well, every great entity knows that challenges come. And I realized, sitting on the parks board, that even today, Portland Parks and Recreation is going over their own challenges. But I've also come to find out that a lot of times that all this adversity is to our advantage. That you cannot have victory without a struggle. You can't win without having something to lose. And a lot of times with all these, troubles and budget cuts and all these different talks and rumors that go around Portland Park and Recreation, at the same time, you still produce. You still bring out quality stuff. Why? Because Portland Park and Recreation is one of the best in the nation. Not because we live in the Pacific Northwest, we got beautiful trees, but because we have beautiful people. We have passionate people who are very passionate about what they do. I have never in my life have met a more diverse, passionate group of people. From people who are in love with trees, to people who are in love with kids, to people who are in love with finances and structure and cleanliness. I mean, it's just so much passion that all come together to make this what it is. I'm reminded of a child, and his goal and his plan was he always wanted to be a piano player. He was only about 5 years old, and he only knew one song, and the only song that he knew was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Well, it just so happened that his mother wanted to encourage him. His mother wanted to go ahead and give him, the boost that he needed to live his dream. So he took him to a great concert to hear a great master piano player. And as they were waiting for the show to start, the mother wasn't paying attention, talking to someone else, and the little boy got bored and started wandering around, and he went through this door, and all of a sudden he opened the door and he saw this piano, so he sat down to play. Well, about 3 minutes later, the show started. The mother looked up, realized that the child had wandered off, the curtain went back, and there was the kid. On stage, on the piano, with one finger, playing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. As soon as he looked up and noticed what was going on, and the mother saw him there, he got scared and nervous. Right at that time, the master piano player comes from the back, and he sees the young boy at the piano with one finger playing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and the master piano player comes and sits next to him and tells him, just keep on playing. And he just kept on playing, and the master piano player sat right next to him, and he started playing right next to him. And the more that he was playing, the more the little boy got scared looking at all the people out there. But really, this was his passion, what he really wanted to do, so he kept on playing. Then all of a sudden, the master piano player put his arm around him and started playing the other side of the keys. And they played the most beautiful rendition of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Out of everything that was played that night, everything that everyone remembered was all about the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And then while he was playing, and he whispered in his ear, said, don't be scared. Just keep on playing. By the time he was done, they had a standing ovation. I can tell you, to me, I believe Portland Parks and Recreation carries the same spirit as that story. That you have a way of encouraging people to play, encouraging people to live out their passion. You give them a place and arena to live out loud. Whether it's playing basketball or hiking a mountain or sitting there thinking about their own dreams, thinking about what they do, you help set that stage. You, Portland Parks and Recreation, do things for us that I don't think that you always realize what a great impact it makes in our lives. And so, before I came here today, I had a chance to sit and talk to my father about the opportunity. As many of you know that my father now suffers from Alzheimer's. And one of the things that kind of gets me from time to time is when I stop and think about all the things that he's accomplished and all the things he's done and the naming of the building and all he did for Parks and Recreations. To this day, when I spoke with him, he doesn't remember any of it. I'll throw out names. I'll throw out things that he's done and the difference that you made. And I said, Pop, you remember this? And I'll show pictures. but he doesn't. Alzheimer's has robbed him of his memory. But when I look out here today, and I go to the parks, and I see what you're doing, and I see the spirit of what he's left behind, and what Mike and his staff are doing, and what everybody does in every community center, in every structure, in every tree, in every building, I still find that hope. I still see my father. I come through the community center here. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I won't pass the picture without giving it a kiss. That I'm pretty proud just in this building, I'm always shining the doorknobs and cleaning up the windows and making sure everything is looking good, looking pristine. Because what you represent to me cannot be expressed with words. And what you represent to my children and their classmates, and not just the young, but the old as well, that words cannot describe how much you're appreciated. And sometimes it's hard to feel that appreciation, especially when you hear rumors of cuts, when you hear rumors of programs being taken away, and you realize you do all this work, you win all this gold medal, and then what's your reward? 10% cut. You go ahead and you work in the office, you don't always have the opportunity to be at the parks or be outside and see the difference that you make. But you keep on working and you keep on believing. Why? Because of the passion that you have. And I come to realize you've got more than just passion. You've got skills and talents. One thing I found out is you cannot be successful just on passion alone. If you don't believe me, you just watch American Idol. On those early shows, all them kids got passion, but they got no skills or no talents whatsoever. It's only when you combine all those together that a difference is made. And that's the difference that I see in you. The best motivation a person can have is their own internal motivation, the reason why you do what you do. I wish I had the opportunity to talk to each and one of you, because I would ask you, why do you do it? Why here? Why Portland Parks? What's your motivation? What's your love? What is it that gets you that even at times, I know if Mike could have his way, every person in here would get an award. Every person here would get an individual recognition for the work that you do. But truth be told, someone might be here, they may not even get a pat on the back, other than the speech that we give today right now. But what keeps you coming back? It's got to be more than just putting food on the table. And for each person, sometimes it's a different reason. It's a different reason why. Some people have a love for the children. Some people have a love for the environment. Some people just have a love for the work that they do. But whatever it is, whatever that passion is, whatever it is that keeps you doing what you do at the level that you do it, I encourage you to keep it on, because it makes such an impact and such a difference. Let me close with a true story from the Olympics. This Olympics was back in 1992. It was in the City Olympics. And it just so happened that there was a swimming event. And there was a young man by the name of Eric who was from Africa, a small town in Africa. And he wanted to enter the swimming event. I'm telling you, you have to YouTube this if you're not going to believe me when I tell you the story. He wanted to be the first swimmer from Africa to go ahead and swim in the Olympics. Well, here's what the problem was. The problem was they didn't have the Portland Parks recreation that we have here in Africa. They didn't have the Matt Dishmans and the Columbia pools where he had a chance to practice swimming. No. What did he have to do? He had to travel 20 miles out to a hotel and use their hotel pool between certain hours, maybe 4 hours a day, to swim back and forth to practice for the Olympics. Now, the other issue was the pool that he was swimming in was half the size of an Olympic pool. It was just half the size, so he had to do a lot of laps to get ready for the Olympics. His race was just going to be the freestyle. Well, lo and behold, he trains for only 9 months to go to the Olympics. The rest of the world have been practicing their whole life, but not Eric. And even though Eric's time wasn't that fast, there's the rule in the Olympics that every country can have somebody represent them in each event. And so it just so happens that Eric makes it to the Olympics. Now I'm at home with wifey, sitting up in the front room, watching this for myself. Eric goes for his first swim meet. He has his whole country behind him. And there's only 3 people in his heat. Him and 2 others, one on each side. They go ahead and they're about to start the race. They walk to the edge of the pool. Remember, millions of people watching. Eric, one guy here, one guy here. They say, get on your mark. Eric gets on his mark. Then all of a sudden, the person on his right-hand side lost his balance. And he lost his balance, next thing you know, he jumped in the water. Well, the rule in the Olympics is if you jump in the water early, you're disqualified. You're out of the race. So when he jumped in the water, he's disqualified. Well, when he jumped in, the guy next to him thought he missed the whistle. So he jumped in. And so Eric is standing there watching the whole thing like, ooh, ooh. And now, guess what? Everyone's disqualified, it's only Eric. All he has to do is swim to the end, swim back, and he wins. He wins his heat. Here's the problem. Eric ain't never swam that far before. And they went ahead, and there was nobody else in the race. This is national TV. This is like 3 o'clock in the morning because it's in Australia. And he went ahead, they blew the whistle, and he jumped in the water. It was a belly flop. Bam, hit that water, and he just started swimming as fast and hard as he could. He was so excited, swimming so hard, that by the time he got to the wall and came back, halfway back, he ran out of gas. He was swimming, then he got to the point where he almost stopped. And he was almost like just wading in the water. But the rule is you have to stick with your stroke, because if you change your stroke, you're disqualified. And the announcers were watching him, and you could hear the announcer said, that young man's about to drown. Because he literally looked like he wasn't gonna make it. He was swimming, swinging his arms, kicking, and he wasn't even moving. He was just standing in place in the middle of the water. Eric Mussolini is his name. He broke a world record for the longest lap ever in Olympics. Normally this race takes about 45, 60 seconds. We are 3.5 minutes in, and Eric has not quite made it to the finish line. And right when he was about to quit, right when the lifeguards were about to jump in and save this man from drowning, you heard the whole crowd start cheering his name. Everybody in the arena started clapping and cheering and believing in what he could do. Then all of a sudden, out of no place, he got this burst of energy. And he went ahead and he swam and he made it to the end, and he could not even get out of the water. He was just hanging on to the side. I mean, he was just like super tired. Finally, when they had other players come out, drag him out, they interviewed him. And they had a translator. I can't make this up. You got to YouTube it for yourself. And when they interviewed him and asked him, how he was doing, and that they thought he was going to drown. Did you think you were going to drown? Eric said, yeah, for a minute there, I didn't think I was going to make it all the way across. I thought I started off really good, but then I got a cramp, And so the announcer asked him, he said, well, what did it for you? Was it that you looking up and seeing all the people, cheering for you and cheering for you? Is that what gave you the encouragement to keep on keeping on? He said, no. He said, I appreciated all the people that were cheering and looking at me and all this, but it was really, those people back home that never had the opportunity, that never had the chance, that all their dreams and all their passions are tied to me. And bottom line is that, I came here not just to start the race, but I came here to finish the race. He didn't win any more swim meets after that. But the moral of the story is that what Eric did was passionate, but most importantly it was the people around that he impacted that made all the difference in the world. And I want you to know, like Eric, you impact people. You impact people with the work that you do, with the difference that you make, that a young man like myself might have the opportunity to get the confidence in a city park to stand up in front of others and say what a difference that you've made. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
I'd love to invite Travis Bonneau up on stage. Where's Travis? I saw him earlier. Travis is the amazing artist that created the image of Charles and the painting next to it. And we have a little presentation.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us today to honor Charles, and thank you, Dion, for the wonderful speech. First off, I just got to say, I'm a park ranger working for Park and Rec, so I'm honored to be a part of it. So I feel like I'm a part of the family. So I am a Portland native. I was born and raised in Northeast Portland, and went to Irvington, Fernwood, and Grant. And I'm also currently the head wrestling coach at Grant. So art is a passion that I've had for many years. I studied painting at Portland State. And Danielle Solomon, I have to thank her. She actually gave me the word. She let me know about the citywide competition that was coming up for the art exhibit, and I was honored to do a commission piece of Charles for the community center here, and so I decided to do a second piece of Charles for the city exhibit. And incredibly, I won People's Choice Award for this painting, and I was so honored I couldn't believe it. I wanted to give the painting to Dion for the family. So it's definitely to give to Charles Jordan and his family.
Great.
Yep. Again, I'm very honored to be here, celebrate with you guys. I brought this other piece to share for Black History Month. And I just wanted to thank Mike Abate again, and Warren Jimenez, and Art Hendricks, and Hassan Arthuri, my boss, and for just putting me on as a ranger. I'm glad to be part of the city, part of Park and Rec, so thanks a lot.
This is great. This is great. Can we give one more hand to Dion for that incredible You know, this is what being a Parkie is all about. Supporting each other, encouraging each other, recognizing the talents and the skills that we have and our coworkers have. And I want to take a minute to just look back at 2012, because some amazing things happened. And this is one of the very few venues where we get to actually talk as a family, kind of have a little bit of a family meeting here, and say, how are we doing? What's the state of the family? Well, it's actually pretty good. A couple of things you may not know about. Michael Walsh, who is Multnomah Art Center Director. Is Michael here? Where is he? Where's he? Oh, there he is, standing up. Good, Mike. And Alejandro Vidales. Where is Alejandro? Is he here? Somebody tell me? No? Okay. Michael and Alejandro. Alejandro is our outreach coordinator for the Bureau. They received the We Are Portland Award from IRCO, the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization. The award recognized Michael and Alejandro for their dedicated and compassionate work with immigrant and refugee communities. Give them a hand. Did you know that the American Planning Association in 2012 said that Tom McCall Waterfront Park was one of the 10 best public places in the United States? How about that? Did you know that Director Park won the 2012 American Architecture Award, presented by the Chicago Athenaeum? That's an architecture organization in Chicago, recognizing Director Park as one of the most amazing public spaces in the United States. So let's get that. How many people saw the article in USA Today last week about our urban canopy? Anybody? Come on, let's see those hands. I know it's more than just 1 or 2 people that love trees and parks, right? American Forest said that Portland had one of the